Have to talk loudly then.
Yes, sir. We are live with Danny Lee from UST Mamiya, who's having some mic issues. So you're going to see him hold this thing right to his mouth to talk so you guys can hear him. We're going to give a few minutes for everybody to come online. But Danny, how's it going? I know you're working from home like most people. So how's it going in your life right now?
Oh, it's great. Thanks for having me on THP live here. It's breaks up the monotony a little bit, so it's all good.
What you have, most people on our forum know you're a dad. And what's it like with two working parents plus three kids at home?
It's a challenge from a standpoint of trying to break up the routine for who's going to watch the kids. Right now, it's pretty much I'm on call with the kids, all three kids. Luckily, Addison, my oldest one, is 6 years old, and she's in kindergarten, so the at-home e-learning is not as critical. I mean, we still do stuff, but my 4-year-old and my 20-month-old are, pretty much in daycare. But of course, we're keeping them home. So we're trying to keep the two oldest one busy with math and reading, and they do a lot of art. So
Nice.
yeah, so that keeps them busy.
Does that mean
Um,
you're having them paint shafts?
yes. So it's like a sweatshop, how I grew up.
We got a little comment from Nick here. He says, raise your hand if you have a UST Mamiya shirt on. I actually was going to wear that one, so that would have been pretty awkward.
It's all good. You have a green one too.
I do. Um, so I'm going to start this off with talking about your shafts because you had two new ones that kind of hit the market, but they were in testing phases for about a year. Can you tell everybody about Link and that it's not Link U? Sorry, JDex, if you're watching, but that the Link shaft and what it is with the two models?
So when we started testing, typically we do a lot of testing on tour first before we bring the product to market to make sure we get all the kinks out of a product first. Typically with tour players, they've gotten stronger over the years, and so we have to look at materials from a design standpoint to make it more stable. And in this particular model, Link or Q fiber is what we're using. So the Q fiber is a material we use in the 45-degree angle, which gives it a little bit more stability. Also gives it a great feel. A lot of people that we test with, especially tour players, recreational players, the first thing they comment is feels smoother. That's because of the orientation of the Q fiber and how it releases and stores energy properly. So the Q fiber is really the key component in the two Link models that we currently have out there in the retail marketplace. We have gunmetal, which is kind of a black finish. That's more of a low launch, low spin product. And then we have the purple, which is more of a mid launch, mid spin product. So those are two different ones right now. We're always testing different prototypes, and we actually have a couple other prototypes working. But typically, prototypes will last anywhere from 6 months to a couple of years, depending on what we're trying to do with the product. So those are two models that are available in the marketplace right now. So something to fit everyone. We tell a simple story because that's what most people understand is, hey, if I need a lower launch, lower spinning product, Link gunmetal. If I need something with a little bit higher launch, a little bit higher spin, that's the Link purple.
Perfect. So we're going to take some questions, and then for those that hold on, as Danny throws up in the background, for those that stay through this show, we're going to tell you how you can win the UST Mamiya shaft of your choice. So first up is this one.
The biggest misconception I think with graphite versus in iron shafts is that it's not consistent enough. It's designed for slower swing speed.
People like me.
Josh has a pretty good swing speed, so no. Typically people think that graphite is very inconsistent, creates flyers, and a lot of times, that's not the case. We can make graphite as strong as we wanted to or stiff as we wanted to. We can make it as heavy as we want to. But it's a kind of a combination of really feel, launch spin, and weight to get something out there. Some people always talk about like flyers being created with graphite iron shaft. It's really nowadays when you understand the technology, it's really the grooves that are impacting flyers. I mean, you look at the PJ Tour as a prime example. Majority of players are playing steel shafts, and yet they hit flyers. So that was always one of the misconceptions with graphite was that it creates flyers, and that's
Yeah, I
because
mean, the grooves, you could even have a blade of grass or two get between the ball and the face of the club, and you could create less spin because of that.
exactly, and also just wet conditions. My former time, when you look at the grooves when it's wet out there, it impacts spin dramatically. So, that's a misconception with graphite. When you look at our Recoil product, we have ranges anywhere from 50 gram all the way up to 125 gram. 125 gram for the best players in the world if needed. But the reality is that even on tour, we're seeing a shift to going lighter weight. You look at the wood shafts, even look at iron
Hmm.
shafts. Guys are going to like 110 models, 120, even in 100-gram range. So that's because of really the technology of the material that we're using in our products.
So I'm going to splash this question on there, but I think that this might be something better for us to do more of a long form video rather than this because we could be here a while going through it. Would that be better for you?
Yeah, I mean it's I can go into shaft basic all day long, but really it's that could be a day long conversation.
Yeah.
Um, it's depending on golfer, but really what I see in fittings and when I talk to players is they feel the weight and the feel of the shaft second, right? And feel is really I think shaft flex overall. There's also another misconception is everyone measures shaft flex differently, and it's not really the case. We're all kind of similar. People think you measure the butt end of the shaft. That's the flex. That's not really the flex of the shaft. That is just one component of it. There's different components from butt, mid, tip stiffness in terms of how we measure a golf shaft. But I think weight, because you're sensitive to weight more than anything else. If I give a player a 50-gram iron shaft and I give a player 125-gram iron shaft, they're going to feel a big difference between the two. And that's going to affect their tempo, how they take the club back, how they transition from top down. I think that's going to affect how they swing the golf club.
That's actually a good point because you and I are both less weight, more flex people when we've done fittings together, but a lot of people are different.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, it's a balance. When I started the industry 20 years ago, the only thing available was pretty much steel shafts, like a diamond gold.
Man, you are old.
Yeah. And so you think about that. That shaft's been around, it's been around forever, and still one of the best shafts out there in terms of what players on the PGA Tour play. And that's a 130-gram iron shaft. And now I play a Recoil Prototype 95. And to be honest with you, I love it. It allows me to play. After 9, 10 holes, it feels better than a heavier weight shaft. I originally played a 125, went down to 110. Now I play 95, and I've experimented with even lighter weight because our 80 model is actually very, very stable graphite iron shaft. So I think as a golfer, you should look at different weights and see what you like best.
I got another one up there for you because I get this question quite a bit.
Uh, you know, it's it's two really different families when you talk about helium versus link. Helium is our goal to develop a lightweight structure that was very stable. So when we started that project several years ago, we looked at what was out in the marketplace, and we realized that all these lightweight shafts were very flexible. So we sought out to develop a shaft that was stable enough for even the best players in the world, PGA Tour
Right.
players, and then just that recreational golfer that's swinging the golf club. The more stability we added in a lightweight package, but also maintain the feel, that's when we discover kind of the secret sauce on that product, and that's why it's been very successful. Now, I think if someone's playing the helium and the driver, I think the link would be a good option, and the fairway wood, like a 3 wood or a 5 wood. So like if you're playing the 5F4, I would look at the link purple 6F4 and the 3 wood or something like that.
That's a really good point because they are so different in construction and design. This is another question we get quite a bit here, which is you mentioned recoil prototype, but in general, it's a recoil shaft, but it's slightly different. Can you kind of walk people through what that is?
Yeah, Recoil prototype was really the first one we developed when I first joined the company in 2012, and that was a product that was really designed to really get after the better player. So the difference between like the Recoil prototype 125, 110, 95 versus the standard model is really the torque. The prototype uses slightly higher modulus material, so that you see a typically stiffer profile, about a third flex stiffer, and also lower torque. When we did really the end result is the feel being a little bit firmer or more stable, as most golfers would report back to me. But when you look at it on launch monitors and the conditions in terms of launch and spin, it was identical. So I did this years ago, where just take a look at it, and the launch and spin was different, but the reality is that the golfer was telling me something else. They were telling me, well, this one is launching, feels
Mm.
softer, launching more, but when you show them the data on the launch monitor data and everything being equal, so we didn't see any difference really in launch and spin or even ball speed for that matter.
This one kind of, we talk about this at Shaft Up each year. Uh, it can be really quick. I mean, Danny and I have looked at a golfer, and
Yeah.
you just kind of know within a couple of swings.
Yeah, I mean it's really easy. You depending on the golfers, like some people want to hit every single shaft just to hit it. I think that's a really, I think if you want to do it in your spare time, I think it's great. But from a fitting standpoint, really 2 to 4 swings max, and you can see it right
Per
away.
club, per shaft.
Per shaft, yeah, per shaft. As golfers and PGA Tour players and regular golfers, they adapt. They see a ball do a certain thing, and they feel a certain way. And so what they do is they adjust their swing to this product. And that's not what we want. We want the product to fit that particular swing. And every swing is different. And every golfer reacts differently to a golf shaft. And, I've seen stuff on there where they talk about feel. And that's one thing where most people will provide better feedback if they give us what they're feeling in the golf swing. Uh, Beer.
Starts at 9 a.m., right?
Yes, no. We started doing a happy hour now at the office every Friday, so it's kind of good to see people in the office and kind of get a resemblance of what.
Don't forget Dr. Pepper for Lindsay if she's watching.
Yes, she is. No, she's coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah, coffee at 4:30. So, no, it's been good. Just drinking, beer. Any beer is good. Um, Q fiber. I think it's more. I think it's better in a wood shaft versus an iron shaft. So I think that particular product lends itself to a wood shaft better than iron shaft. So I think potentially we always do testing, and we can definitely apply that and see what happens. But based on what our engineer tells me, that's more suited for wood shafts.
This is an interesting one because a lot of people don't know what quantum is, but we're starting to get questions on this. So kind of tell people what that shaft is and how it compares.
Quantum is really more of our
Best way to word this one.
more of our R&D of attacking lightweight products. Quantum is slightly lighter weight than helium. So what we're doing with that particular product line is using all our resources and materials. No cost there in terms of what we're trying to achieve into a product to see how light we can make it, how stable we can make it, how good we can make it for the average golfer out there. So really, that particular tour specs quantum is developed to chase what we can chase in terms of creating the lightest weight shaft, create speed, better launch conditions and stuff like that. So
And they'll find these at fitting studios, not
correct, yeah,
necessarily outside of that.
yeah, correct. Like a club champion stuff like that. So you'll see it there.
This is an interesting one too because we talk about aesthetics a lot, you and I, but not most people don't. They talk about performance. What is your favorite look?
Honestly, our standard IP, it's just it has the best of both
Can you
worlds.
explain what IP is for those that may not know?
It's basically ion plating. So you put a raw shaft into a chamber, and then ions are deposited onto the shaft, and that creates that look, that rich, premium look. So I prefer that look. I see a lot of golfers now that want the custom colors where they have the black shaft and different colors, and I think that's great. We're giving golfers choices, putting it on the favorite color, giving them different finishes.
But green IP that's right back over my shoulder is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's actually it turned out really good. That's one of the things that we continue to work on from a company standpoint is having an IP machine that can spit out different colors. So, we invested heavily in a new IP machine last year from a standpoint of trying to develop new colors. If you look at the marketplace, like a Top Speed that was launched with the Callaway Epic Flash Star, that's a gold IP. So we're going down that hole of trying to chase different colors, whether it's a black, purple,
Green.
blue, green. Certain colors are harder than others, but ultimately, I think that's where we're going with the IP finish.
What's in your bag right now? It
Bag
changes
right
every
now.
time he and I talk, which is daily.
Yes.
So
Right now, it's actually Cobra Driver, the Extreme for driver. Don't play it forever
that's
with it.
really good, isn't it?
It's honestly, it's one of the straightest products I've hit.
Ever?
Yes, surprisingly, I hit it. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be a big hook, and it actually turns out to be pretty straight. Surprising how forgiving it is. So I have that in my driver, and then irons I split between the Cobra Forge Tech that we played at Hammock Beach, and then also have a set of the Mizuno JPX 919 Hot Metal Pro. So I got those, and then wedges, Cleveland RTX 4 raw.
Sort of.
Yes.
For those people who've listened to our Noel thing, Danny's got the Noel specials also.
Yeah, I got those in the 50, 54, and 58. Right now, I'm experimenting switching out the 58 for like a higher lofted, just because I only use it really for like bunkers and around the greens where I need to get it in the air. So maybe looking at something higher. And then with the putter,
You still
yeah,
Toulon Las Vegas?
I have Toulon, Las Vegas. I have like 10 different putters I rotate through, so I can't go through all those. So honestly, every time I play with JB, I've played a different putter, and that's the
Yes.
honest
Well,
truth.
and irons for that matter. But Hot Metal Pros have been in there for a while now.
Yes, so it's probably one of my favorite iron sets in terms of being hot, feels great. So
You don't find people at your handicap often playing those that they would go to the tours, but you've always said you like forgiveness.
I like forgiveness. I like offset. I think those two things are good. I mean, you look at the original Ping I2, that offset and that people look at like, wow, that's disgusting. And honestly, that to me looks good. It frames the ball better. There's that's just what I like. So that's just me, myself, and I. So, um, what's the best? What? What the heck question
Well,
is
we
that?
know it doesn't include turning them.
No, I turn them. Oh, if I have the equipment. Uh, wow. Okay. That's the. I think he's referring to your driver.
No, he's referring to his driver, remember?
Oh
That thing
yeah.
that didn't even have a ferrule or that 7-iron?
Wow, that was pretty disgusting.
Yeah, it was bad.
I wish we had a picture of that. What's the benefit of counterbalance shaft? Two folds. One is that it provides the ability for the kind of the club head to close faster for people who struggle, and then also counterbalance shaft is really shifting the CG of the shaft to the butt end, so that allows the club builder to especially with heads today, typically a little heavier, to create a little bit
Hmm.
right balance point on the shaft swing weight, and also when golfers are swinging it, it's going to feel a little bit lighter overall, even though the total weight is similar. Darren, yes, typically we have similar CPNs between Flexus. In terms of like our wood product, a regular and a link, it's going to be similar to our other products. And we typically have standard CPMs between Flexus. We typically measure between 12 and 15 CPMs. That's what we typically do on that particular product. Torque, really no. Torque really is
It certainly can change the feel of it.
yeah, I think torque is ultimately feel. Typically, the higher the torque is two ways: is it feels better or it feels looser. Some people might say, right? But
Mhm.
when you look at the ball flight and you look at the data, you look at dispersion. Really, that's not the case. It's mainly feel. The main difference between when someone has a lower torque shaft and a higher torque shaft is the profile. If the profile fits that particular golfer, for example, Helium will have slightly higher torque than a Link product, yet I hit the Helium a lot straighter. The Link product to me is a stiffer profile. So for my swing, for my DNA on my golf swing, it actually I tend to hit it more left with the link shaft, whereas the helium shaft with higher torque, I typically hit it a lot straighter.
Okay, bear with me. There's a lot of questions, and guys, I'm just going to say if we don't get to your question, post it in the THP forum. I can get Danny to come in and answer those, or I can answer them for you.
Yeah, I'll come
No,
into
we're
the
not.
forum too, so I'll do that later today
Yes,
and try to
he's
answer
allowed
some
on there. We
questions.
allow it.
Yeah,
Here you go. There's one for you.
just close your eyes uh,
And swing hard.
and swing hard. Just make sure you hit it. Just hit it steep. But typically with driver off the deck, that's really the same as a fairway would. Just hit it, and hopefully
People
it's gonna.
steep like me don't struggle with that one that much.
Nope, exactly. So it'll go low and it'll go. 99% of the
Far.
time it'll go left to right. So
Yeah.
it'll keep that left out of play. If there's nothing in front, that's the best play. Yes, I actually got a home setup now outside. Buddy, my tour rep sent me a hitting net that he had, so I set that up outside. Got a mat to put out there, and then just got this GC quad just to hit, and then actually trying to get my kids into it. So my 6-year-old, my 4-year-old love it. So we're going to train for LPJ now. So
Well, there you go. So my question is, and I shouldn't even say a question, my comment is, this is a true story. Not a week ago, I get a message from Danny, hey, do you have any hitting nets lying around?
that is
So
true.
I knew you were up to something.
Yeah, this quarantine life. I mean, we're both parents are my wife and I are at home, so 3 kids are home. So we're keeping them indoors as much as possible. We let them outside about 2 or 3 times a day, avoid all the other kids, which the other parents are not doing. But so I decided, like, you know what? I'm gonna text JV. He's like, "What's going on? Do you have a hitting net? You gotta have a hitting net."
This is a good question.
Um, huh. Favorite course I played at a THP event.
Because we were talking about this last time, and you didn't even get to play the champion course at PGA National because you were sick.
Yeah.
And Olympia Fields is really hard.
Yeah. Um, I like the layout of Olympia Fields. I think it's one of the better
Hard.
layouts I've seen, but it's too hard. And I'm not a fan of hard courses. I mean, I could play it, but when you're playing with a couple members from THP and you see, a 10 handicap or a 15 handicap struggle as much, I don't think that's as fun. Um, I think I thought Conservatory was a fair golf course. It's hard, but it's fair.
Yeah, especially
So
from where the tees we didn't play from.
yeah, exactly. So I thought that was a good course. Honestly, I think my favorite course has to be.
You said it was
Uh,
between Conservatory and Bellerive after that one.
yeah, it's hard to say. I actually enjoy the Vegas course because it's so beautiful. What course were we playing in Vegas?
Cascada.
Cascada. Oh wow, that was
That was a
probably
great course,
that
even
was
though our caddy is still talking.
yeah. I think that was a phenomenal course from a standout of how green it was, how lush it was, good conditions, not hard. I thought that's my criteria for golf courses. How playable it is. So I think Conservatory is kind of a combination of both. Even though I played it only one time, I kind of thought it was there were some hard
Yeah, we're gonna have to
shots.
go back there.
Yep, I thought it was pretty good. How tough? Oof,
That was hard.
that was really hard. We actually changed our mind a couple times.
We did.
We
And here's Adam from Golf Unfiltered, who was our third judge every 2 seconds. Okay, let's go back in the hallway.
yeah, I was pretty set on what I wanted, what I thought was the winning drink. And again, I think Adam was right. We kind of talked about it and make sure that we're picking the right winners. Ultimately, I think the guys that won it did a great job in both what the drink was and how they presented the product, and
Yeah, it was good.
it was great. So their shafts are at my desk. I haven't been at the office for a month now, so I've talked to the guys.
But they'll get them.
They'll get them. But yeah, so they're still sitting in my office now.
This is an interesting question because I don't know if I've ever asked you that.
Who's the best golfer at UST? We have one guy that joined us last year. He tried to play professionally. He's probably the best guy at the office. And think about that. After that is, unfortunately, it's me. So that's not a good sign. Lindsay's a great golfer too. She just, she used to play collegiate golf, and
she's too busy for us now.
Yep, she's a great golfer too. So I think between 3 or 4 players, Scott, my tour rep, is a great player too. He's just old, so I hope he's listening.
Boy, I hope he's not listening. We're going to kind of wrap this up for the question portion, but we want to tell you guys, I know that a lot of people want UST shafts, and we're going to give one away. And the beauty is, like, I have almost their whole line right behind me. I can't believe I actually pointed at the right corner there. We're going to give away a shaft. You'll get it when Danny's allowed back to work, assuming he still has a job after all this. I can't imagine otherwise, but he's drinking a lot, he said, so there is that. The way this is going to work is you're going to go either to Twitter and you're going to write what shaft you want, tag THP Golf and UST Mamiya, and use the hashtag ShaftUp. So if Golf Unfiltered decides he wants to win a Link Q, to quote JDax here, a Link shaft, Link purple, he would say, I want to win the Link purple that I heard about on THP Golf Radio or live or whatever he wants to say from UST Mamiya, hashtag ShaftUp. There you go. If you don't have Twitter or prefer to use Facebook, you can do the same thing in the comments below this video. So either way, we will choose a winner on Monday, and we will get a shaft out to them as soon as Danny's allowed to get back to work, unless I happen to have the right weight and flex here.
You should. You have a lot.
I should. I have most of them.
Correct.
So thank you guys for all the questions. I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks, Danny, for coming on. And go out there and try to win the shaft now and blow up Lindsay's phone, who handles their social media for Facebook and Twitter. And don't forget the hashtag ShaftUp and to tell us what shaft you want.
Thanks, guys.